in Tottenham till I die. Raise a banner, let it fly high through the rain, through the fire. This is my club, my only desire.
Yes, guys, good evening and welcome. A lot has happened since that glorious night in Bilbao. Has the club fell into a trap of thinking enough is enough? Well, tonight we're going to make a change for that. We do have Billy from Change for Tottenham, and it's great to have him on. But guys, welcome. Do hit the like and subscribe if you're watching us on X. Do hit that follow button as well. Joining me tonight, of course, is Billy, but joining me is my two normal co-hosts. James, how are you, bud, tonight?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Good to be on tonight. It's nice to have a couple of days off work and be able to get some shows in.
Yeah, it is. And Rain, how are you, bud?
Very good, thank you.
You look very smart.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've had my biannual chop.
And of course, we have Billy from Change for Tottenham. Billy, firstly, thank you for coming on. First of all, we get going. I have an apology to make for you and Change for Tottenham. I've been very critical of Change for Tottenham since the end of the season and the beginning of this season, since Daniel Levy was either booted, resigned, or whatever. Just thank God he's gone. That it was Levy out, Enoch out, and I really wanted. We had the momentum, and I felt we had a chance to push on that momentum. But I understand why, and I get why. So, firstly, a public apology from me to you guys. You do fantastic work, and yeah, thank you for coming on. It's so great to have you on, bud.
No, certainly no need to apologise for that, and I know that your sentiments are shared by a lot of our members as well. I think I don't think anyone was particularly convinced by this new ownership or the new board or the Lewis family or the NX 2.0, whatever you want to call them. They certainly don't like being called Enoch anymore. Unfortunately, it's just by this sort of rebrand, they bought themselves a little bit of time. But thankfully, as many of us predicted, and as you certainly would have predicted yourself, that time has already run out, I think, by the way that they've already acted in their early tenure. So certainly no need to apologise, and thank you very much for supporting the show, for the supporting the movement, and delighted to be on here talking to you guys.
Yeah, look, 44 years I've been supporting Tottenham. I was there when we nearly went bankrupt, and I think we all were around when we nearly went bankrupt under Ivan Scholar. And to see us where we are now, yes, a lot's changed since them days to now, but it's all about glory, isn't it? It's all about trophies. It's all about the Bill Nick way. And I think we need to get back there. We're so far away from the Bill Nick way. It's unreal. Listen, we are going to start. Big up to everyone in the chat. I will be saying hello to everyone. Well, we've only got Billy for an hour, so we're going to crack on with this, guys. So we know James and Rain have a couple of questions. So Rain, we're going to start with you, and then we'll go to James, and then we've got a few talking points. So, and we've got a question for you guys in the chat as well. So go on, Rain, take it away, bud.
So you're right, Billy. I mean, so obviously Dermot's like so many of our fans is a sort of a non-local fan, really passionate about Tottenham, and I think so many of them, wanted us to carry on with the protests, but I think everybody understands that there was some consideration at the time. Look, these guys need to be given some space to actually show us where they are. I will just say I'm a never present. I was at Burnley and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I was one of the 15 at Burnley.
Yeah.
And I was at Bournemouth as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting back, and I'm hoping that we can get some change, but also I think we all want kind of the Man United kind of atmosphere, don't we? Which was the festival. I called it like a lads with dads event, because I saw so many dads with, with their boys on their
dogs there as well.
Yeah, it was just so good. It was a really friendly atmosphere. But I wanted just very, very briefly. I know just tell us a little bit. I mean, I know it, but tell us a little bit about Change for Tottenham. I've got a couple of other questions. You know, when did Change for Tottenham come about? Just a really brief overview, mate.
Yeah, of course. So, and again, thank you very much for your support, and it's really, really appreciated. And looking forward to seeing you again on Saturday. And so, Change for Tottenham is a group of season ticket holders that got together from as early as 2021. And obviously, back then it was sort of about just building a community of like-minded people that sort of felt the same. And obviously, because the action that started didn't start properly until last season. But before then, it was led by a couple of season ticket holders who got together with the sole intention of, providing a platform for fans to get together that wanted change at board level. And so the key consideration for them is that it's always aimed at board level, at the owners of this football club. What was previously, Daniel Levy took a lot of that, but it's always really been about ENIC, not just Daniel Levy, ENIC as well. It's been an ENIC movement always. And myself, my background, I sort of stood on the high road with the ENIC out people. I've always been against these owners. I think, for me, since the sacking of Pochettino in 2019, I think that was unforgivable. I know that some of my, our colleagues and some of our friends, Brian Daigle and people like that, have been even longer than that. They go back to Martin Yole was the last straw for a lot of people. I know a lot of people have had their own sort of timeline with the frustrations. For me, it began, I've always had some frustrations, but sacking Pochettino was the final straw for me. So I came on board a couple of years later, changed to Tottenham in about 2022. But back then, we were just sort of getting together as people, like-minded season ticket holders. Then, obviously, the club, since moving into the new stadium and since post-COVID, has rapidly declined year on year on year. And performance in last year, with a 17th place finish, and again, obviously we did win a trophy, but again, the same mistakes repeating year on year. So Change for Tottenham decided to have a go at some stadium action. If you remember a couple of years back with the balloons, and then as our sort of prominence grew a little bit, we got members supporting as well. We decided to act on some protests as well, the biggest one being the Man United game. We also tried to do things like have banners in the stadium and stuff like that, which got quite good media coverage. We're always trying to do new things. One of our next aims will be to do an in-stadium protest, things like a walkout or a sit-in or something like that. But the thing is, for those kind of things, we need consistency in numbers, which is why I completely understand the idea that we should have been protesting always. But the problem is with this kind of movement, momentum is so important. You can lose it and gain it very, very quickly. Last season, we had a lot of momentum going into the Man United game. But then, as you saw in the summer transfer window when we were protesting as well, people just weren't joining us in numbers. We didn't have a lot of people. And we always have to be realistic in the fact that, generally speaking, if the football team are doing well, we're not going to get that many numbers. That's just the way that it generally works. But then there's always the loyal people like yourselves that will always be, regardless of how the football team, they want new owners. And that's the kind of camp that I tend to fall in as well. So this season, this is our first protest this season because we reluctantly gave them a little bit of grace period, thinking this is a new ownership, not really a new ownership, but a new boardroom. Seeing how they would do, but I think the spots have shown very, very quickly that the Leopard does not change their spots, and we're going into January in a complete crisis. So we've had lots and lots of members ask to us or support us saying, when are the protests starting again? So we've decided to act in January now. And our support online has been overwhelming with shows like yourself and other shows as well. We've got our athletic piece coming tomorrow. We've been in The Guardian, we've been on BBC, we've been on TalkSport. So there's been huge amounts of support for this because I think fans are just fed up at this moment in time. So that's why we've decided to act this January and on the Saturday at the West Ham game.
And
yeah, sorry.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's great. Right, we're going to get James's couple of questions, then we'll get talking points. Then, you got one more, have you?
I do have another question.
Okay, go on. Then we'll get James.
I just wanted to address that, and I think it's really important what you just said is that you don't want it to be irrelevant. There was 15 of us at the Burnley protest, which is fine, but there were people, telling me why bother when there's so few people, and it's absolutely right. So I think what you did was right to take a pause, rather than to have 20, and there was more people at the Bournemouth protest.
Yeah.
But to have 50, 100 people, and to start to be so to do the reasonable thing, I personally think that was a good approach. It obviously, looking back at now in hindsight, maybe hindsight's 2020, right? Everybody would look back and go, maybe we should have just kept on protesting.
Yeah.
But but it was a reasonable decision taken at the time. Just very quickly, Billy. How do you guys make decisions? Because you have to make make very difficult decisions about how you're going to organise, how you're going to do things. So how do you guys make decisions?
So there's a core group of members that make decisions together, but the key thing is we always listen to fan sentiment, and usually that is online, just because that's our easiest way of getting lots of opinions very, very quickly. But we did put a poll out last weekend saying if we did a protest with the West Ham game, would people be up to backing it? That got overwhelming support. So we always sort of counsel our members, and we can generally go by fan sentiment just from speaking to like-minded fans and going. But we generally try and poll fans before we do things, because I always think that Change for Tottenham is not about who's behind the scenes. It's about being a platform for everyone to come together, and we just provide that platform. We can do things like, we can, organise protests and things, which some of the other fan supporting groups like the Trust and the Fab, because they have that relationship with the club, that sometimes they can't take action like this. But as Change for Tottenham, because we're an independent body, we can always speak for the fans. So we always listen to the fans first, and then try and act on what the majority of our members want us to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair. James, here you go, bud. Here's a couple of your questions. So, James, Billy, James. So, go ahead, bud.
Afternoon, Billy, or evening. Long-time Spurs fan, been a Spurs fan 40 plus years. I'm from Yorkshire. Don't get to many games. Not been to any of your protests, but I suppose my big question really is, it's there on the screen for everybody. It says, do you really think, or do you think the protests have or will change anything at the club level?
Okay, so that's a really good question, and one that we get asked a lot. And I'm always reluctant to say that the protest, for example, let's take Daniel Levy leaving in summer, for example. I'm reluctant to say that the protests were the reason why he left. What I do think protests can do are two things. Firstly, I think they can add pressure and gain media attention, which I think is really important in the world that we're in at the moment, particularly football. It's such an important, currency for clubs is the media attention. And when we had the Man United protests and we got the sort of our biggest numbers, that was covered on every sports channel. It was on Sky Sports News, it was on Talk Sport, it was in the media. So I definitely think it can add pressure. I'm not arrogant enough to say, we're not arrogant enough to say it's Change for Tottenham that, if 2,000 were standing against West Ham, then ENIC are going to put up and sell, or they're going to go and do this, and this. But what it might do is just add a little bit of pressure to the board to get rid of that negative attention, negative press. We've already kind of seen it this week. They're already sort of trying to make a couple of transfers this week and stuff like that. So we're just hoping to add the pressure. We're not expecting, I'm not stupid enough to think a group of billion, I think the problem is a lot of these people, the richest people that run our football club, probably don't even really care what fans think at the best of times. We've seen that Daniel Levy, Don O'Connell and people that were in charge of the football club didn't really care what fans thought at the best of times. So I don't think they really care that people are protesting. But what hopefully it can do is add a little bit of pressure. And I think the most important thing that protesting can do is just allow fans to stand up for themselves. Because if you don't, then no one else will. So I think the best thing that protests can do is allow fans to share their opinion in a way which sort of gets the message across.
You've got one more, haven't you, James?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's it is. I mean, I really, really hope it does put pressure on them to understand that us as fans won't take the state of our club lying down. I mean, I like very much like Dermo and Rain. I remember us nearly going under, going bankrupt, flirting with relegation, players not happy, discontent across the club, and to see us come out of that on the other end and see us improve, I mean, to see us sort of take a step back towards that, it's disheartening as a fan of Tottenham. And like I say, and I suppose my second question, it's kind of tied to the first one. Do you think the protests can kind of cast as in a negative light, or do you think it's cast as more in a positive light because it shows how much we care?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think there's no doubt that there's no doubt that from an outsider looking in, with lots of fans protesting, it's not a great look for PR for the club, is it? But what I think, on the other hand, I think the club are as good at much more of a factor in that right now than anyone else. I think if you look from outsiders at the club right now, we've got a manager that's sort of getting booed off in games. We've got players that are fighting fans. We've got players that are fighting other players. We've got our club captain, coming out and making statements against the board. So I think the club itself are doing enough right now to make us look like a bit of a circus from the outside world. So I don't think the fans protesting is, doing anything different to the club that themselves are doing. And what I hope it shows is that we are a fan base that can't be taken for granted, and that we do really care deeply about our football club, and we won't stand to be treated like customers like we have done for the last few years. And I think what people have to remember about Tottenham as well, and Tottenham fans that go to games and Tottenham fans that watch all around the world, is we're a club that have been promised so much and delivers so little. We pay huge amounts of season ticket prices. We moved into this stadium with promises of being this huge elite club, and the fact is, every year that we moved into the stadium, it's got worse and worse and worse. And we were told, when we moved from that season at White Hart Lane, a fantastic season where everyone was happy. Well, don't worry, what's going to come next is going to be brilliant for everyone, but it hasn't been that way. So hopefully it shows a fan base that don't want to take any more of this nonsense from the owners.
I 100% agree.
I think for me personally, like I've always said, Billy and the guys, that I've always said, give me White Hart Lane and the championship winning side, and said that this stadium and the crap we've been watching. I miss White Hart Lane. I understand why the club did it, but I just wish they didn't. I just miss White Hart Lane so much. There was a togetherness there, wasn't there? Everyone was together at that stadium. I know you're probably a season ticket holder. I know Rain is as well. You were with people for years and years and you're part of the ground. Now we've all been separated, haven't we? And you look at the Daniel Levy, Gary Neville interview before he left or pushed or whatever, and you just feel it was a bit of, look what I've done. Well, we don't care what you've done. We care what we want. We want a successful team. And I feel we got a bit of that in Bilbao, didn't we? And I don't know about you. I went into the summer so excited about what we could do. And we just didn't do it, did we?
Especially after the parade and everything that we had. And it's that all of that goodwill has gone already.
I just...
Parade was so good.
Yeah.
And that showed how big a club we are as well, that parade.
Yeah,
200,000 people there. And all that goodwill has gone already. 6 months later.
Arsenal, if you're watching, we are the biggest club in North London. I don't care what state we're in. We're still bigger, and you're still South London, so bugger off. Leave North London to us.
So
we are going to start with... Yeah, go on.
So I've got, as somebody who's as somebody who's been to all of the protests and will be there on Saturday, right? I'm one of very, very few ever presents, and for me, it's the question. What impact has the Change for Tottenham movement had? Kind of misses the point, but it is the question that people ask. But the way that I see it, the biggest problem that we've got is we've got the supporters' trust, and they've got their role, they've got their job, they do it really well. We've got the FAB, which has been created by ENIC, created by the board as a method of communicating, but they're communicating in a very particular way. They're talking about very specific things that are very curated. There is no real link between the board and the fans for how we feel about how the club is being run. I know that the THFC have brought that to the attention of the board, but it isn't that they have to have a very stable relationship with the board, because they've got operational things that they need to deliver. So for me, Change for Tottenham is needed because the board themselves have chosen this is the only way that we can communicate and actually share how we feel with them. It's not the way that we want to communicate with them. It's a choice that they have made and sort of imposed upon us. This is the only way that we can say we're not really happy with what you're doing with our club, and we are. Dermot always says this: we are the club. The other thing, James, for me, both Billy and I have said about the Man United protest, and it was such a good day out. It was kind of like a pre-runner to the parade. Because everybody was just, it helps that it was warm and sunny, obviously. So, but everyone was walking, everyone was chatting. There was no anger, there was no vitriol, which I know a lot of people get put off about. It was very, very. It was almost like everyone was in the stand and celebrating, but just being together. I'm absolutely sure that that's the type of atmosphere. And there was loads of families there. There was mums, there was dads, there was kids. I'm sure that Billy. I mean, we're going to put words in your mouth. I'm sure that's the type of atmosphere that you want.
Yeah, and that's always a great thing about the people that we get. It's very, very family friendly. People have messaged us and say, "Can we bring our kids?" Of course, you'll see lots of young children there. You'll see families joining. Like I said, we've even had dogs there in the past, and it's just a collective of people to get together that are just sick of being treated like this in their club and want to demonstrate that in a respectful way and in a meaningful way. And also, it's just a really good community as well. You meet lots of people that talk to them. People that are just like us guys here, that are just fed up of their club continually disappointing them.
I mean, James, look, you and me can't get to the protest because of either work or we're far away, but we do our protests on here, don't we? Where Rain and Billy can get to the protest. How important is it for fans like us? I'm sure, Billy, that we're as much as important, aren't we, James, for change for Tottenham as say Rain is, because Rain can get to them. How important is it for us, like us YouTubers or people that can't get to the protest, that they do share it on their social medias, they do get the word out there? How important are we to you guys?
I think me personally, I'm just one voice in many. I mean, we have a worldwide fan base, and I'm pretty sure there are fans on the other side of the world that are just as disgruntled and just as upset with how the clubs run and been or not run in some respects. And it's just that by posting on social media, by us doing our shows, and by voicing that enough is enough, it then gives power to the people that can get to them and say, well, hang on a second, these guys on YouTube are strongly voicing that things need to change. Maybe I need to look at it in a different light, in a different point of view, and do things. Do I need to go along to one of it? People who can get to games, who go, okay, do I need to look at it? Can I get to a game? Can I get to a protest? Even if I can't get to the game, could I get down to a protest and the march to the ground? And so this board actually understands that we're united as a united fan base in our disgruntlement and our absolute let down feeling by the board. I mean, for a long time, like me and you've had discussions about it, Dermo, regarding Thomas Frank. I know you were sooner off the Thomas Frank train. Yeah, you'd hopped off that train. I was very much, we've got to give him time. And even my patience with regards to Thomas Frank is certainly waned drastically over the last month or so. Certainly last 6 weeks, it's changed. And I'm starting to run out of patience with him and start to think, was he ever the right man for the job? But like I say, with regards to the protest, I think it's a great, Billy, that you guys can get there, and you, Rain, but you guys get there and you're able to put the voice of the many, although you might not be 100,000, 200,000 strong, you've got that voice and that support behind you. And I think that's absolutely admirable that you guys are able to do it. And I highly commend you for being able to do it and doing it for all the fans of Tottenham who feel the same way.
In the right way, James. In the right way.
Yeah, absolutely, in the right way, because there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And you've never once have I turned on Sky Sports News and seen ugly scenes at Spurs protest or anything like that. It's very much just. Even the mainstream media seem to be supportive of us because we do it the right way, and I think that's a testament to Spurs fans as well, that when we do things the right way.
And it's just as equally important, people that are, like you guys supporting it from around the world and around the country. We have members that support us in Australia, America, India last season, and that's equally important to us. And social media is a completely new currency these days for the club, and they're very aware of things that happen on social media, as everyone is now. It's just important as a mainstream media now, as most of the world get their media and their TV watching and their news from social media now. So channels like YouTube and Twitter and all that kind of stuff is just as important as people that are there in person as well. So we're really grateful for all the support that we get across, from whoever. It's not necessarily to say that people that are there in person are any more important than people that are supporting us from around the world.
Is there a link up with West Ham? I did read somewhere on social media. Was there a link up between the two support groups?
There isn't a planned link up at this stage, but I know that they're protesting their next home game. And what's interesting about that is they're going to do a walkout on 15 minutes. So we're going to see how that goes to see if that's something. If it was successful for them, maybe that's something that we could do at Tottenham as well. But I know, it's funny, isn't it? At the timing, I know people are calling it El Sacchio, aren't they? But I think both fans would happily stand together in protest against their owners at the moment. Yeah, normally we're heated rivals, aren't we?
Definitely would. Definitely would. If that was Ange, I think the end of last season, I think for the Europa League fun, I think a lot of fans would have walked out with the football we were watching. But I was thinking the other night, bring me back Ange now, because that wasn't just as bad. At least that was attacking football. What we're watching now is just, I want to switch off my PC football and go somewhere. Look, Billy, I've got a few talking points, guys. I just want to pick one of them. Look, Daniel Levy was very much 25 years of a poserizing figure at Tottenham. You love him, you hate him, he was there. But with Levy stepping down as executive chairman in September 2025, and now the battle between him and Enoch since then, has it changed anything at Spurs that change for Tottenham can see?
Well, I thought the January window would be a big opportunity to see if anything has really changed. And I think, immediately we sold a couple of players at the beginning of January. We then went into 2 Premier League games with a weaker squad. And you can, argue about whether Brennan Johnson's sale is good or bad or not. And I think it's probably the right decision, but we haven't replaced him. I mean, we've only just got something over the line now. And we dropped points in both Premier League games. We then went out the FA Cup. And I would suggest that we're more of a shambles now than we even were this time last season. There's so much disconnection between the fans and the players. When you think back to that to the parade 6 months ago, how connected everyone was. Well, now you've got the players going over to the fans and fighting and arguing, and you've got the captain coming out and the players talking about the fans on Instagram. So I don't think anything has particularly changed. I thought this January would be a really good opportunity to come out really strong and show, this is a new era for Tottenham. But I don't think anything has particularly changed. And I like the signing of Conor Gallagher, but I think if you look at it, it's probably just a replacement for Bentancur, who's got injured. I haven't seen any particular change in ambition or anything like that. We haven't gone out and made a signing that's made a needle move or anything like that. And I think when you look behind the curtain, really, the fact is that Enoch were the ones that have been owning our football club for the last 25 years. And even though Daniel Levy has gone, Enoch are still in charge, and they can try and rebrand to the Lewis family or Enoch 2.0 or the Tavistock group. But the fact remains is we've got the same people that are making these decisions. I think, what you could maybe look at is that there's been lots of people that have been appointed since Daniel Levy has gone. But so far, I haven't seen any change. I don't know about you guys.
I haven't seen. James? I mean, I go to you next, James,
I can't see. I've seen a lot of things change in the boardroom, and to give themselves keep themselves sort of in power and support and friends of the board in the boardroom and things like that. But I haven't seen anything that sort of screams out at me that says, okay, things are going to be done differently. Very much like you just said, Billy, is the January transfer window. I was, fingers crossed, I was hoping that come the beginning of January, certainly now we're 2 weeks into the window being open. Yes, we've got the medical booked for the young Santos Souza left back tomorrow. He's coming in tomorrow for his medical. That should get that deal boxed off. We've signed Conor Gallagher. That is confirmed and done and dusted. I'm same as you, Billy. I agree. I think Gallagher is a good signing. I think it's a player that we needed. And I think is he gonna be the marquee signing? No, but I think it's a solid acquisition for us in our midfield. So I'm still looking for the sort of the big money being spent. We got given, like me and Dermo have discussed in transfer stories, for what information I was given, we had £150 million war chest for January. We sold Johnson for 35. We've signed Gallagher for 35. We signed this Souza. That's looking roughly around about 12 to 13 million. So in my maths, unless I'm incorrect, that still leaves a good 87, 90 plus million in the kitty. So let's go out and make these key signings that I think that we still need. And there has been some questions. I've got it starred, Dermo, regarding transfers to bring up.
We will talk about that at the end. Like, I mean, look, Billy. I mean, I'm very interested. I want to get into when Rain goes to these protests and you organise them. How do you organise it? Do you all DM each other, or do you think, right, this is the game? Do you sit next to these people at Tottenham games? So how do you go about it? So people can understand what is changed for Tottenham. What are they about? And just second that to it, Rain, with you going to the protest on Saturday as well. Do we need it's probably to both of you. Do we need a Manchester United style protest now, like Man United do, where thousands turn up every week? Is that your end goal, Billy, to have that sort of protest every time, like a Man United style, but we're doing it better because we're a Tottenham Hotspur and we do it in a respectful way because we as a club are like that? Is that your end goals? Do you know? Is that your end goal?
So I'll go for the first question first. And so how do they get organised? So there's a group of us that get together on, just online on WhatsApp groups and things like that to actually organise the logistics of it. And we generally, using our social media accounts, we try and put out polls and stuff and do spaces and things like that to try and speak to people to say, when are we going to protest? And we're just like any fans like you guys. And generally speaking, when we know that the fan base is angry, we're thinking, right, could this be a time to strike? Could this be a time to protest? Now, with the Man United and the protests from last year, we had about a month either side to organise them and promote them. This time, because the January window is so small, we've had a week to organise this one and a week to promote it. So it's been a lot shorter. Now, in that time, because like you said before, we do things right. We have to speak to the police around the Tottenham area that we have good contact with. We have to speak to the club as well. The club are aware of everything we do. And in fact, this time, the club contacted us this week and they reached out to us saying that they're aware of our plans. Can we have a phone call to go through everything? And the club are actually they're obviously supportive in terms of logistics because they know there's never been any trouble at our protest and there's never been any bad violence or anything like that. So the club do allow us to do things, particularly when we go into the stadium. We have to clear it, health and safety and all that kind of thing. So a lot of organisation goes into it, but the main thing is like the promotion, social media and going on shows and things and getting supports from this great channel and stuff like that. So that takes a little bit of work. Now, previously we were an anonymous group because we didn't want to ever for the egos to come into it or anything like that. We think it didn't really matter who's behind Change for Tottenham. It's just about getting people to join together. But a lot of people said to that was like, well, we need to know who these people are behind it because we need to know that we can trust them. So then we became public members and stuff like that. And in terms of the second question about is your end goal to be like Man United? I think that would be fantastic. And we are going to look at the games that are in February to see obviously, this is our first one this season, so we're thinking if we get decent numbers for this one and there's an appetite and we can consistently protest against the board, maybe in the February games as well, continue into the February games too. In an ideal world, what would happen is the board would have an ambitious January, make some big sign-ins so that everyone's happy, and we wouldn't have to protest. But unfortunately, I don't see much sign of that. So definitely the aim is to be consistent action with big numbers like Man United get, to put a message to the board that they either have to start acting ambitiously or sell the football club.
Yeah, so, exactly. That sort of takes me on to a point, Rain, with you. You and me have discussed this, haven't we, about who to buy Tottenham. You and me, we sort of agree, I think. I think James has a different opinion. I'm sure, Billy, you have your own opinion. So I would love to know from the three of you, who would you like if ENIC were to sell? And we do know there was offers put in the summer, wasn't there? And ENIC did reject them. We know this 2.0, Charlie, Viv, Vinay, Tequila, who's also a member, is always saying to me, I'm going out to dinner with them, which is not true. I don't go out for dinner with ENIC 2.0. So please, that's just a rumor. It's not true. Tequila did last week, and I went the week before.
No one can prove anything.
No. I've got the photos to prove he goes out for dinner with them.
Damn. Right.
I bet they didn't pay for it, though, did they? I bet they didn't pay for it.
No.
Actually, you're right, Billy. I always ended up paying for it. Boggers. Right. One word answer ready from through. Yeah. Rain, who would you like to take?
Well, I wanted to address the previous question, if I may.
Oh, yeah. Previous January, and then we'll do this one.
So, Dermot, you were very early on with your. I've got real concerns about Frank. I don't think Frank is the right person.
Yeah.
And you know that I've been in a different place, but I think we've both come at it from using the same facts.
Yeah.
And he's clearly not interacting with the fans properly. He's clearly got problems on the pitch. We're not delivering the type of football that Spurs fans we expect a certain type of football. Even when Conte was semi-successful, we absolutely rejected the way that he was playing football. There was there was just a sheer rejection within the stadium as to the way that football was being played. I'm very much of the opinion that Frank is basically cut loose. I don't think he's getting any support, and everybody needs a little bit of support, and that falls on ENIC. That falls on the board. So when he's criticising the fans and interacting with the fans in the way that he's doing, he should have somebody within the club, an in-club mentor, right? Who can go to him and say, look, this is not great for us, and I think maybe we should do this a different way. And I think he's completely isolated. That's my opinion. So I not only do not think that anything's changed, I actually think it's maybe a little bit worse, because Levy was a micromanager, and now it looks like we've got AWOL in terms of ENIC. That's how I feel. What was your question, Dermot?
A one-word answer. Who do you want? If ENIC were to sell to who? One-word answer.
I don't care.
James?
Someone with money.
I just want some. Go on, Billy. Give me an answer. Go on. Who would change for Tottenham? Think, yes, they're the people that's going to look what we want, and they're the people that are going to move our club forward.
Just someone who puts the football team first. Forget the hotels. Forget redeveloping the area. Someone who puts the football team first and wants to win things.
Yeah, I do know what I agree. I don't think you look with the change of FFP as well. Say we've got Qatari owners, they're not going to be spending like Man City. Newcastle are the richest club in the world, and they can't spend half their wealth. So, look, for me, I think I don't want American owners, because I think if we get American owners, then I think we're going down a rabbit hole we're never going to come out of. It's going to be more of the same. There was a question here, Billy, and I wondered where Change for Tottenham are on for this. It says about the stadium rights and the shirt sponsor. How are Change for Tottenham on this as well? Is all this like, and the activities at the stadium, the skywalk, the boxing, the Beyonce concerts, and everything? Do you feel that we've been taken for the ride on that as well? That we haven't been told the full truth where the money goes to?
I think so, because we were told that, you know, and the stadium name rights is a really good example of, you know, we've basically lost out in 6 years of that now inside the stadium, and we were told that all of that money would go back into the football team. Well, if you actually look, we're so far from spending anywhere near our PSR. You know, Aston Villa, for example, they spend right to the very max limit of what they can afford to spend. And as a result, you know, they're in a title race this year. And people say, well, their wage bill is 96% of their revenue. It's not a long-term solution, but I don't think they really care at the moment as fans, because they're in a title race and they have a fantastic football team. You know, we don't spend anywhere near we don't get anywhere near our PSR limit, you know, which is rumored. I think Daniel Levy said, and that Gary Neville interviewed, didn't it? You know, we've got about £200 million headroom at PSR. And Daniel Levy always said that, you know, when the PSR kicks in properly, Tottenham will have a massive advantage over everyone. But we just don't use that advantage at all. So it doesn't really matter what happens with the stadium rights or the sponsors, because we don't spend it anyway. Like we do, you know, our wage bill is 46% of our revenue at the moment. It's one of the lowest in the league. So until that changes, then I don't think it really matters where all this money goes, because it's not really going into the football team in a meaningful way, you know, as much as it could be anyway.
Yeah, I mean, James, Rain, do you want to say anything on this? Where are you on this?
Yeah, I mean, the stadium naming rights, that's an ongoing battle of Enoch Levy wanting to try and maximise the potential income to what they're giving up. It was always going to be the case with Levy in charge. I think we will maybe find, now he's gone, maybe in the summer of next year, that might change. I'm not saying I know for guarantees, but I think it will become a little bit smoother sailing. As for shirt sponsor, I believe we've just renewed AIA.
For training, but not for the proper. I
Yeah.
think not the proper front shirt sponsor,
Yeah,
but for training we have.
The training gear has been renewed for 100% sure. I think there is negotiations ongoing with regards to the main shirt sponsor. Because what used to be, I want to say Betway was our training shirt sponsor.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that's just recently changed to AIA. So whether or not that does change, I think it's got 2 years left to run on it, on the main shirt sponsor. So yeah, does it need to change? It depends. Depends what level we're playing at, really. If we're playing at championship level, then I think we'll be looking to keep AIA. If we're not, if we're Premier League, who's going to really want to sponsor us?
Yeah, I mean, Rain, anything on this before we move on to the last talking point?
I mean, I've got opinions. I've got long opinions on this. I absolutely think that there's some negligence going on at the board at this point in time. I think there's a lot of manoeuvring going on at the board at this moment in time. People who are in the know and follow this, you know, much more closely than, you know, fans who just want to watch football, know that there's certainly there's been audits within the board on everything that happened under Daniel Levy. There's been, obviously, everybody knows there's been a lot of board movements, a lot of people moving around the board. I'm looking at this from a corporate perspective, and it just looks to me like they're getting the club ready to sell. And in the meantime, we're stuck in limbo. This is my personal opinion. It looks to me like we're stuck in limbo whilst they're manoeuvring the club into a position where it can, where that can happen. That may be wrong or that may be right, because none of us actually know what's going on. nature abhors a vacuum. We'll form our opinions in the absence of clear information about what's going on. But what we can absolutely say is there's a certain degree of chaos throughout what the board are responsible for. Not just naming rights, not just sponsorship, but also Paratici's leaving. Frank, I don't think is being supported, and there's calls for him to go. The transfer windows have not been handled well at all. It's not rosy uplands at Spurs, and most of it falls within ENIC's remit.
Yeah. Is it true, though, guys, that we can't have a stadium name because we're hosting Euro 2028, aren't we? So we can't have a stadium rights name till after that. Am I right in that?
Yeah, because you can't have a branded stadium in for international tournaments. So if it was to be named, say in the summer, say we sell the naming rights to the stadium in the summer, it would then kick in from the 25-26 season. So yeah, if we get the naming rights in the 26, it wouldn't actually officially kick in to be renamed that until the 28-29 season. So but how much revenue? I suppose the thing you've got to look at is the revenue that you're going to generate from the international football to the revenue that you're going to get from the naming rights. That's what you've got to balance. Are we going to get more from the international side of things than we would ever potentially get for the naming rights? So if you, for argument's sake, Nike's our main sponsor. If it became the Nike Arena, for instance, just because Nike's our shirt manufacturer at the moment, and we're using that as an example, and they offered us 150 million for the naming rights of the stadium, and that was for 25 years. In the international tournaments, if we could generate 50 million, which doesn't seem like a lot compared to 150 million, but for that one summer to generate 50 million rather than 150 million, they're going to see that as a more positive. So that's where the financial book balancing and financial maneuvering, very much like Rain said, would come into play. So I can see the naming rights being sold in the summer of this year and then kicking in for after the international tournament of the Euro 28.
Now, I know, Billy, we've only got you for a few more minutes. I know you had to off by 9. So this is a question I've actually asked the members. I also want to ask you, and then I want you to plug the protests on Saturday. Where's the meeting point, and where can people get hold of you, and how can people help get this out of their heads? So the one question is, Billy, if you could say one sentence to the Tottenham board right now, what would it be?
So that sentence would be either deliver on your promises or sell the football club, please.
Do you know what? I think this section of the show, I think that's a good place to leave it. Right, Billy, where can people find you, bud, for the protest, and where's the starting point and everything, so people need to go into the game on Saturday?
Yeah, so we're going to be meeting. I'll be around from slightly earlier, but we'll be around from about 2:00 outside the Corner Pin pub, which for anyone that knows the stadium is right by the stadium, right by number 8, right on the corner of the Park Lane entrance. We'll be there from about 2:00. I'll be singing, chanting, community vibes outside there for about half an hour, and then walk into the stadium together to continue the noise in the stadium as well. Everyone is welcome. Bring banners, flags. Wear yellow if you can. That's our colour of choice. But anyone from around the world, just by sharing or watching these shows and anything like that, is supporting us too. So if you want to just, we've had people in the past, from around the world interact on social media on the day and hold banners up in Australia in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge and stuff like that. So anyone can get involved, but I look forward to those of you who can make it at 2:00. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you for this channel for supporting us. We really appreciate all the support, and we look forward to seeing some people down there on Saturday at 2:00.
Yeah, look, I'm over for the Leeds game, so I definitely meet up with you, Billy, and we'll have a chat there. I know Rain's going Saturday, so what I'm hoping to do, Rain, is send you a link, and we'll get it up on the channel live from the protest Saturday. We're going to try to do that. We'll try to get, if you're quite happy doing that, Rain, if I send you a link and you can put your video on, and we can link it on the channel, because we do want to show people how much this protest. Billy, I know you're short for time, but thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely.
I look
And
forward to hopefully get to chat again in the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
thanks
will
very
get
much,
you
Bill.
on definitely afterwards. And everyone, please, if you're going, look for Billy, look for Hayden, look for the lads, wear yellow, and support the lads. Let's get this movement going. Let's get it strong, and let's grow it. Billy, thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much,
Absolute
guys. A real
having
pleasure.
you on, bud.
Lovely to meet you guys.
See you later. See you later. There you go. That is Billy from Change for Tottenham. I enjoyed that. That was a good hour, and I think we got a lot out of that. Rain, are you happy to do that Saturday for us if we can organise it?
The problem I've got, Dermot, is the internet connection around there is absolutely shocking, mate. So I'd love to do it, but I've tried to meet up with people before, and I haven't even been able to. Been able to contact them on WhatsApp. So we may do some records. And send through to you, but I won't be live streaming the protest.
If there is one at Leeds, I will be. Maybe send James on there undercover down there. What do you reckon, James?
Ooh,
Can we send you down there undercover?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we've got a few transfers to finish off. We're going to go for another 10 minutes, guys. So we are going to do that. I did a show earlier about transfers, by the way, and if you weren't with us last night when we announced about Conor Gallagher, why not? Where were you? We are your channel with the breaking news. We are the Fabrizio Romero of YouTube, and I will back that up. So we've got Spurs syndrome. Big up to you, bud. Sorry you couldn't get to your question until now, but as you hope you appreciate, the protest was important with Billy from Change Your Tottenham and getting it out there and getting people there. So hopefully you can understand. So I'm very sorry, but here we are. It's a question for you guys in the panel. Rumors are blowing up what we're in both for who are them?
Akilushe.
That's
Akilushe and Adiemi.
Adiemi. Do you believe that caliber players caliber players this window, and would you take them? Right, I can give you the latest on that right now. We did do a show in it earlier, Spurs syndrome, but I can give you the latest. We did put a bid in for Ademani last night. So the latest I have on that, let me get it up, is right. We put a bid in last night. Spurs have made an approach, or as sort of an exploratory bid for Carlem Ademani. But as for was a couple of hours ago, there has been no formal response from Dortmund. The offer is understood to be testing the waters rather than the final push, with Tottenham waiting to gauge Dortmund's real willingness to sell in January. Ademai's openness to a Premier League move is mid-season. No talks have progressed yet. Dortmund are currently holding their position, focusing on squad stability rather than cashing in. Now, Tottenham have put in a bid, I think, around, if I'm right.
I sent you a link on. I sent you some info on that earlier.
Yeah, now he's worth 65 to 70 million euros, so that's 55, 60 million quid. Has been widely reported as Dortmund's starting price tag for Ademani in the market. Offers above 70 million euro mark will be looked at. Spurs' starting bid was 45 million, but that's only sort of an opening bandit. On the other player, the Monaco player, Spurs have submitted a 45 million pound bid for him. Monaco have not accepted it, but understood to be holding out for around 55 million. So if Spurs push to a 50 million plus add-ons, this could move quickly. Monaco are sellers, but they're only at the right numbers. It's one to keep an eye on. Now, as I said earlier, Tottenham could go back in and make that 50 plus add-ons offer, and then if they're winning back, then that would be accepted. So it's one to keep an eye on. And also, just very quickly, Tottenham did attempt to pursue, did a mandate this window, but Leipzig's position is clear that he's not leaving before the end of January. Leipzig valued Diamandi extremely high, around €100 million, which is 85 to 90 million quid. Would likely refuse anything below that in the winter window. But any move happens, it would be a summer or an outrageous bid. So that is the latest Spurs for syndrome. That is what we got. We did break a lot earlier. Where you guys on the Monaco play? Let's start with him. Let's start with Adekanchi. Can play left wing, can play attacking midfielder and a striker. 55 million. So Spurs offer 50 million add-on. Would you think he'd be a player that could improve us, guys?
I definitely think he'd be a player that improves us on that left wing. Certainly, I think he's shown in certainly in the French league that he's more than capable of mixing with the big boys. So yeah, I definitely think he would be someone who would really push that left side and give us that more a different dimension and different give us some more balance. We've certainly if we get Decky back soon and Kudos, having that likes of Alakuche, Simmons, Tell, Kudos, and Kulusevski as sort of like the attacking midfield sort of wingers. I think it would give us a very, very good dynamic to be able to play across that front three.
Yeah, I think so. Rain, where are you, bud, on it?
So on Akilush, I think he absolutely is the type of player that I would love to see us bring in. The one concern is that, if you remember Xavi, when Xavi started, Xavi came to us, right at the end of the summer window, he clearly wasn't physically ready for the Premier League, which, you need to have a bit of strength. Even if you're a technical, skillful player, you're still going to get buffeted and knocked around the pitch. So the only concern that with Akilush is and you can now see with Xavi before the Liverpool game, you can see he'd started to bulk up. They obviously got him in the gym, right, to get a bit of, and even in that Liverpool game, he was certainly putting himself about. So he's certainly sort of bulked up a little bit. And my concern with Akilush is, would he be ready now? Is he going to come in, and is he going to take 2-3 months to get up to the pace of the Premier League, and to get physically sort of ready for it? And now that risk may not materialise. He may come in and boom, hit it. And I certainly think that's just a short-term concern, because he looks fantastic.
I mean, look, Conor Gallagher, isn't he? He's coming in ready. He will come in, hit the ground running. Guys, how happy are you with Conor Gallagher? I'm over the moon with it. I think it's a great signing. It's a good signing from us. I think he does. I think the question does ask, who does he push out in that midfield? I don't think Archie Gray and Bertha are going to go. I don't think Palunial will go. So where are you going with? Are you going with Sarr? We know Basuma's going this January anyway. So do you think Papa Sarr might be the one to be moved in the summer?
No, because I can see Papa Sarr being pushed further up the pitch and playing sort of second fiddle to Simmons and Madders. Sort of Simmons and Madders being your first choice. Sarr just, I think it'll be a retrain of a position for him. If anything, who I think Gallagher will replace, it'll be Bentancur.
Yeah, Rain.
He's more progressive than Bentancur.
Yeah.
He's got better vision than Bentancur. I'm not saying Bentancur is has got no vision. But I think Conor Gallagher just has that one thing that is the one thing that Gallagher has that Bentancur doesn't, and he has that ability to pick out that and ping across and put it on a sixpence for the wide men, the attacking men, and be that linking player from our attacking midfield and our midfield.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion, and I
No,
think it's
no.
a cracking signing.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I agree with everything James has said. I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely see it that way. I thought Bentancur was like on his way out, and then we gave him a new contract. I can't see Bentancur sort of staying that much longer. But I'm not too sure that anybody needs to leave, because Gray and Bergvall are still under 21. So and I think they go on a B list next. I think they might go on a B list next season. I might be wrong there. So I think actually, from a sort of personnel and squad management perspective, I don't. Whereas we do need Bissouma to leave because he occupies a non-homegrown spot, and because Bissouma needs to leave the club. Conor Gallagher, I don't think anybody actually has to leave for him to come in. So just add him to, more. We need more. Yeah, we need. It's the old Matrix thing. We need more bodies, more
Now,
people swarming in.
now Tequila is now coming in with a big up to you, Tequila. Great seeing the chat, bud. I hope you're okay. You are very much missed, so we can't wait to see you back on here, giving you Simon Jordan. Simon being the Simon Jordan of this channel, and he did used to run the football club. He did. Yes, he did. He says Conor Gallagher won't get us top 4. He's not that good. Top 6 player at best. I think. Look, Tequila. I think it's a bit harsh. I think he is I think he's a player that will get us in the top 4. But there is the argument out there that he's not the player to sort of get us to that next level. Is that a fair comment to make? Because I think it is, isn't it? It's a fair comment to make.
It's a fair comment to make, Dermot, but it's one of those. It's like we as Spurs fans, right? We want somebody who's going to be able to come into the team and be able to take and sort of get to grips with the Premier League quickly. You bring in a European or a non-European or someone like from Brazil or anywhere else around the world, and they've got to adjust. Conor Gallagher knows what the Premier League's all about. It's not going to take him long to readjust to the Premier League. And I genuinely think that Spurs syndrome said it just there. Watch Xavi's numbers climb now. Gallagher is here. Watch this space. Absolutely, I 100% agree because I can see Gallagher being that linking player, that player who can link the midfield to the attacking midfielder, and it'll hopefully stop Simmons having to drop so deep to come try and influence the play, because he'll have the trust and belief that Conor Gallagher's going to be there with next to someone like Palhinha to be able to intercept that ball, pick that ball up, look for the forward runs, ping a pass through, and Simmons will be able to use his pace and exploit certain gaps that are going to be there. So, like Marcus Hewitt's just put into the chat there, he says, remember he was a leader at Chelsea. Yeah, he was a leader at Chelsea, and I think he will do. I think he'll do a job, and I think he'll do a very good job for us. So yeah,
me and Rain were talking about this last night. Won't be Rain. When it broke, we were doing the show, and the news was breaking. He was gone. We got it a bit before Romano got it, but we did say that he played very well under Poch, and I think we both said it, didn't we? Is Poch next? Because he was a bit upset when he left Chelsea. But, he
never wanted to leave Chelsea.
No.
He never wanted to leave Chelsea. Chelsea sold him for FFP reasons, and plain and simple.
And the person who attacked my hair earlier today was a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, there you go, you see.
And he's gutted. He's absolutely gutted. And he was absolutely adamant that they did not want, the fans did not want Conor Gallagher to leave. In fact, they protested because the club sold Conor Gallagher. And I think a lot of that, where going back to what Billy was saying about a turning point, the straw that broke a lot of Spurs fans' backs was Martin Jol being sacked or Poch being sacked. With Chelsea, there's a lot of fan resentment over the fact that Clear Lake sold Conor Gallagher because they saw him as one of their own. They saw him as a player who was really, really important. He was their club captain, for crying out loud. I think just as a slight addition to what James is saying, and it's literally just a little something else, because everything is it helps Paulinia, and we were talking about this demo. It helps Paulinia and it helps Zabic, because at the moment they are having to half manage Gray or Bergvall because they're learning. They're learning and developing and growing. They're now going to have that play. So not only are they going to have like this trust that James was saying in Gallagher, but they've also got less responsibility, so they can actually be more responsible for what they're doing. I think it's a bit of a multiplier. I think when you get a player like Gallagher and get him onto the pitch with these other guys, I think exactly what James said. It's just everything says it's going to free people up to do what they want to do better.
It is. Listen, guys, we will put the change for Tottenham. They have released a statement. We will put that statement up in the comment section. So, guys, do look up for that. Just very quickly, in-stadium protest, meet-up announcement, Saturday, 17th January, 2 p.m. before West Ham, on the corner of Park Lane and the High Road, outside the corner Pin Pub. If you're, basically, that's what they're doing. Just to skip through the rest of it, we will then head into the stadium around 2:25 for a 2:30 concourse meet, and in stadium protest, we are meeting between 20 and 21 by the balcony in front of block 254 to create as much atmosphere as possible. Well, it is a London derby, so there should be plenty of atmosphere there anyway. Yellow is our colour for a change, so please hold as much yellow as possible. As you didn't know, yellow is the Wexford colours as well, by the way. Seriously, it is. It is with the yellow bellies. That's the GAA nickname, our GAA side's nickname on football and hurling. So yeah. So see, even Wexford is changed for Tottenham. So look, we're gonna end it there, guys. It's been a long day. It's been a very long day. Big up to Spurs Syndrome. Big up to Tequila as well. Yeah, I know that. It is a club signing. I think it is. I don't think it's for Thomas Frank. I think it's a club signing. Personally, I agree with you, Tequila. Guys, we are, what day is it tomorrow? Thursday. Thursday. Yes, tomorrow there is a transfer update show
it's
at
Wednesday today.
No, Thursday. I said tomorrow.
Oh.
I did say tomorrow. Tomorrow there is a transfer update show. Friday at 5 that we're doing the predicted lineup for you members live at 5 o'clock or 5-4. Anyway, we're doing the members predicted lineup show for you members on Friday. Then it will go out to non-members the following day. Then Saturday we have I'm on the Irish Hotspur at 12. Then I'm on We Are Tottenham TV at 1:30. Then I'll start the watch along at 2:30. I think James is doing something before the whistle. I think he's doing before the whistle between 2 and 2:30. And then James and me will be covering after the whistle as well. I've got my eyes shut because I'm trying to remember everything that I'm trying to do this by memory. So yeah, we've got an awful lot, and then I do, but I just can't be asked to bring up the memo. I write it all down. I was trying to use the noddle. Yeah. And also Sunday we've got a transfer update show, 8 o'clock Sunday as well. Right. James, where can people find you, bud?
Obviously, you can find me here. I'm usually messing around on here at some points when I'm not busy working, doing my day job. Also, you can follow me on X at THFC James. I've picked up a few followers there, so by all means, hit a follow on that. It's where I tend to post most of my transfer news. Obviously, as I'm breaking it to Dermo, I tend to drop it on there as well, so you guys can pick it up and see it firsthand and understand where we are and what we're doing. I just did get an X question on my account saying, "Evening, Big James. Is this right? Are we in for Adieme and Akilushi?" And I'm just like, watch the show and you'll find out what my thoughts are on it.
Yeah. As I say, it's a wait and see at the moment. That's what I've been told. Can't wait to be, because look, we could quite easily say, yes, of course they're coming, they don't come. We don't do that on this channel. Wait and see, unless I get 110% confirmation from the people I use, we will bring it to you. And yes, people have been asking, James, so can we now put this to bed once and for all? Is deadline day coming back on the 2nd of February?
Yes, it is. Deadline Day will be back. We love Deadline Day show. God, it was a grueler. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I know Dermo loved it. Rain, you're more than welcome to join us and take us in on the Deadline Day show. It was absolutely intense and amazing. My phone was like a red hot line to Moscow. It was constantly going off. Just constant updates. It was absolutely phenomenal. So please, yes, Deadline Day will be back. We will be taking you from the morning all the way till the very close of the window, and you get blessed with my ugly mug and Dermo's good looking face all day, as much as we can possibly, or until our voices give out completely.
Are you talking about me? Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes, and I will be wearing yellow tie in the last 2 hours before. I will be getting a yellow tie this year because some people have asked, where's my yellow tie? So I will be doing my Jim White yellow tie thing this year. Rain, where can people find you?
Here.
This new look you.
This new look me. Here, two or three times a week.
Here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, and various other places I pop up, but you will definitely be able to find me on Saturday at the Corner Pin pub. I'll be there from around to the 1:30 before heading into the stadium. So if you want to come and say hello in person, you come and say hello on Saturday, or but please don't throw anything at me. I've got a long day after that. Come and have a chat.
What, Rain? You will be noticed at the stadium for being on this channel now. You do know that. People will be coming up to you. This is a funny story. We'll end it on this, right? I was at Tottenham versus Palace last year. I was in the concourse, minding my own business, talking to a friend I know from another channel, just having a beer and a talk with them. Next thing, this shout, Dermatron, comes from nowhere. And I'm looking around, who the hell is Dermatron? Not thinking it's me. And 2 or 3 people come up. Can I have my photo with you? Do you know how weird that is? It is so weird. People come up. Can we have your photo with you? And I'm thinking, I'm just a short-ass Wexford fella, short, fat Irish fella from Wexford. Do you know? I'm just talking absolute nonsense on YouTube. Yeah, and you want my picture? It's something I cannot get my head round. It really is. It's so you got that to come. You got that to come, Rain. You'll have the women flocking over you. You'll have to get bodyguards and everything to keep them away from you now. But yes, we are back tomorrow at 8 with Transfer Update. I love these Transfer Update shows. As we showed last night, anything can happen. News can break at any time. James, when are you back on, bud? When's your next?
I will be about Friday. Friday, I'll be here. Also doing the pre-game Saturday. I'm going to try and jump on at halftime as well. Dermo, give you my sort of halftime thoughts and feelings of the game. I mean, I will be joining you obviously after the show on Saturday, after the whistle. if we do another show on Sunday transfers, I'm probably be able to jump on that with you as well.
And of course, you will see rain as well over the next few days as
Yes, of course I will.
well.
Now, just quickly before we go, and on a big bombshell, I know Rain's had a new haircut. Obviously, people have been commenting on Rain having a new haircut, and he said his hairdresser was a Chelsea fan. Now, I call hairdressers a barbers, but Rain, are you sure it was a barber you went into and not a Chelsea butcher? Because he's butchered that hairdo, mate.
No, yeah, it's very much. I mean, I call him hairdresser. It's very much a lad's barbers. No, yeah, he's a good guy. I didn't realise they're protesting at the moment as well. There's a lot. I think we don't realise there's a lot of protesting going on. You know, West Ham, Chelsea, us. I think there's a lot of it going around. And like you say, Dermot, we're going to do it. We do it the right way.
We do, because we're Tottenham Hotspur, and that's why we do it right. Listen, very quickly, thank you for over 2,096 of you on X. If you arrive over there, please hit the follow button. I would love to get over 2,000 followers on X. So if you can do me a favor, I think we're 1,974. So come on, we can get over 2,000
26 followers. 26. Come on, 26.
Come on, 26
hit that follow button.
Out of 2,009 of you, we've had a big show as well on YouTube. So thank you all much. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're back tomorrow. Any breaking news we'll bring to you first and fastest. Even if it's 1 a.m, I will come on and give it to you straight away. But guys, that is it. I'm off to cook my dinner for me and Mrs. Tron. Rain's off to have an argument with his hairdresser. And James is going to try to find his way out the stadium because he's already got lost already. On that bombshell, we'll see you tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. In the cockerel we trust.